Checkpoint 2. The figure indicates three small patches 1, 2, and 3 that lie on the surfaces of two imaginary spheres. The spheres are centered on an isotropic point source S of sound. The rates at which energy is transmitted through the three patches by the sound waves are equal. Rank the patches according to the intensity of the sound on them and their area greatest first. So let's see the given figure. So in this figure, we have the isotropic point source of sound S, which was exactly centered for these two imaginary spheres. So the first imaginary spheres have two patches, 1 and 2, and the second imaginary sphere have only one patches, which is 3. Now, we have to see the fourth line of the question. They clearly mention the rate at which energy is transmitted through the three patches by the sound waves are equal. So what is meant by rates at which energy, which is nothing but energy over time, which refers to the power. When the source will emit the sound wave, the power at point 1, 2, and 3 are equal. Now we have to give the information about in patches 1, 2, and 3, in which patches the intensity will be greater and in which patches the intensity will be weaker. And in the second point, we have to give the greatest area first. So for answering these two questions, we have to recall the formula which we studied from the theory. The intensity is given by the relation I equal to power over area, where here power is nothing but energy over time. And they clearly mention your power is same in all three patches. And they clearly mention this is the imaginary sphere. So that means we have to apply the rule for the surface area of the sphere. So the surface area of the sphere is 4 pi r square. So if you substitute the formula for this area, we can write the intensity as power over 4 pi r square. So let's just see the relation between the intensity and the distance. So that means here the intensity has the inverse relation with the distance square. So let's see the figure. So if you consider the first imaginary sphere, the distance from the point source S to the point 1 and 2 are equal. That means the intensity at point 1 and 2 are exactly same. And when you see the third patch, the distance from the point source to the point 3 has a greater distance. So that means if your intensity is increased, the distance should be smaller. But if your intensity will be weaker if the distance will be greater. So it has inverse relation. So based on this point, we can rank at point 1 and 2, the intensity from the sound source will be greater because the distance is smaller when you compare with third. So we can say at point 1 and 2, the intensity are same. But when you see the third point, the distance from the point source are greater. So that means your intensity at point 3 will be weaker. So I1, which is equal to I2. Why we just mention I1, which is equal to I2? Because both are exactly on the same distance. But your third patches are having more distance from the point source, so it has the weak intensity at point 3. So we gave the answer based on the greatest first. So here the intensity is greater 1 and 2 first, and then I3. Clear? So I1, which is equal to I2, which has the greatest value when you compare with I3. So this is the answer for the first part. When you come for the second part, we have to give the greatest first for the area. Again, we can see this rule. They mentioned the power at three patches will be equal. That means the sound emitted from the sound source, when it entered patch 1, 2, and 3, the power is nothing but the energy over time. So that is already, they clearly give the information. The power at point 1, 2, and 3 are equal. So now we have to see the second part. Here also the intensity has the inverse relation with the area. If intensity will be greater, then your area will be weaker. So based on the answer what we got from the first part, Your intensity at point 1 and 2 are greater when you compare with I3. So that means your area 1, which is equal to area 2, is lesser than area 3. Why? Because you can see the intensity at point 3 is weaker. So that means if your intensity will be smaller, then the area will be greater. So based on that, we can say your area at point 3 has the greatest value when you compare with patch 1 and 2. Clear? So this is the answer for this checkpoint. That's it. Thank you.